All right, welcome to the live Q&A for Lesson 3 of Fretboard Wizard. This is going to be a really awesome day. We're going to do a quick review of Lesson 3 about transposition. Then I'm going to get to some frequently asked questions, and of course take your questions live, and we will also celebrate small wins. So let's get started. Cheers to you, Lesson 3 Fretboard Wizard live Q&A attendees. And cheers to you, Sir Noah Jacob Heckman Jr. the first. And cheers to you, Levi, the flannel-wearing man with a technical plan.
Thank you, Tony.
I was going to try and come up with something new. This is a little bit like deja vu.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I wrote in the comments. I'm like, feels like we've been here before.
Welcome to the Lesson 3 Fretboard Wizard live Q&A. Lesson 3, we're going to dig right into. I want to try my best not to waste any time today, and I want to get to your questions, of course. Lesson 3 was all focused on transposition, and this seems like a useful skill, but it's kind of one of those skills like, well, I could see how I could use it, but can I use it in other places? And I'm actually in this live Q&A, I'm going to share with you something that I think will turn on some mega light bulb moments for you about how you can use transposition to your benefit, not just in terms of changing the key. In terms of changing the key, but also a side benefit of it that actually wasn't revealed in the lesson itself. So let's first review the lesson. What is transposition? Well, transposition means taking a chord progression in a certain key and moving it to another key. Same chords, same positions, just in a different key. And we learned how to actually easily do that by employing one of the universal rules that we have and learning about the Nashville number system. So what does that all mean? Well, we have, for example, in the key of C, we have the following major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right? And we know that by virtue of the chord matrix and the resulting tonalities, that the first chord will always result in a major, the second a minor, the third a minor, the fourth a major, fifth major, sixth minor, seventh diminished, and of course it repeats again. The beautiful thing about this is that the universal rule is that whatever major scale is here, the degrees are the same, hence the resulting chord tonalities are the same. So you can take a chord progression that's, say, in the key of C, it goes from C to F to A minor to G. We can call that a 1, 4, 6 minor, 5 progression. And then go ahead and plug in any major scale, isolate the 1, the 4, 6 minor, and 5, and you've then transposed that immediately to that key. This is one of the most beneficial things because when I was first learning how to play guitar, really learning how to jam, I kept hearing these terms of 1, 4, 5, 6 minor, 2 minor, 3 minor, and it was really it was confusing to me because I had not been exposed to that notion. But then when I made the connection of, okay, there's this chord matrix, the major scales have these degrees associated with them. Those degrees essentially mean chord tonalities, resulting chord tonalities. All of a sudden, it was like, whoa, I just got a major light bulb moment. And then furthermore, when I learned that this was a universal rule and I could take a chord progression, 1, 4, 6 minor, 5, for example, and then move it to whatever key I wanted, that was a huge deal. And that's what this whole lesson was all about. And it seemed like the lesson sat well with a lot of folks, a lot of great comments, a lot of light bulb moments during the lesson, but of course, a lot of questions as well. And one quick special note before I forget, because I've already forgotten a couple things this week because my mind is in 17 different directions. Your challenge for Lesson 3, I just posted today. Thank you. I want to say it was Gary or Dan. Now I'm going to forget the name. Anyways, somebody reminded me in the comments. They said, no challenge for Lesson 3? Au contraire, there definitely is a challenge for Lesson 3. I just posted it this morning, so thank you for the reminder. And of course, you can find that in the Fretboard Wizard community by going to Course Materials, clicking on the Fretboard Wizard community, and then once you're there, you'll see it in a tab on the top labeled Challenge Number 3, and it has everything to do with transposing a song of your choice. So go there to find out all the details. Moving on to some of the questions from the comments in the lesson. This is from Leonard. He says, this lesson is very frustrating for me. Sometimes I think I can hear the sound of the chord change, and other times I don't. I'm listening for the word changes to change the chord, but listen for the chord change. It doesn't seem that I can hear it at all. It's very frustrating. So this is actually, I pulled this from a lesson 2, actually, and I wanted to address this because I wanted to kind of repeat that the ear training portion of Fretboard Wizard will take some time, okay? The fact that you understand the universal rules, the fact that we're discussing these universal rules and showing places to use them is really crucial, and that's laying a good solid foundation for you to build from. But the ear training portion does take some time. In fact, it's the longest, it's going to continue to evolve. You're going to continue to hone in on those senses. And right now it might feel like I don't even know if I can pick out the key or a chord changer, let alone hear if it makes any sense. So here's a quick tip that I want to offer. In terms of hearing chord changes, this is a skill that you will cultivate, and again, it will evolve over time. But you can take songs that you know, and I would recommend something maybe that you play, something that is very, very familiar to you. It could even be a nursery rhyme for that matter. And just go ahead and print out a chord sheet, something that you're very familiar with. Look up, Rockabye Baby and plus the word chords on Google, and you'll find a chord sheet for it. And in going through that, it's a song you're very familiar with. You'll start to hone in on what happens during the chord change. You're going to hear a kind of an emotional difference. And by using a song that you're very familiar with, you'll be like, oh, that's the chord change. That's what it sounds like. So you'll start to be able to hone in on actually where the chords change. And again, this is best done with a song that you know. And I want you to start to not just say, okay, that's the change. I want you to use your own terms to describe it. Maybe you think it gets more exciting, or maybe it resolves, or start to use some of your own words to describe how you feel when the chord changes, because that will help you identify what you personally are listening for, and then you can take that skill and start to apply it to songs that might be a little bit more difficult, or songs that you might not know. So I hope that helps, Leonard, and bottom line is really try your best to have patience through this ear training sequence. And it's really, there's still songs that totally throw me. In fact, a lot of the songs in Challenge 1, I had to go back and revisit and be like, okay, which key is it? I would have 2 that I was really struggling with. So it's something that will get better, but it will also be something that will always challenge you, because there's going to be one that's going to throw the wrench in the wheel. So hang in there, Leonard. You will certainly get it. And just be patient. Just be patient. And before I forget, I want to make sure that we are celebrating small wins. So if you have a small win, hashtag small wins in the comments below, and we'll take some time out and read some of those. We just had a good dose in our previous live hangout, which, that happened just a little bit ago. So.
Correct.
I feel like I'm in a kind of a time warp. But that was for a different reason. We're here, we're focused on Fretboard Wizard, so let's do that. So Julie L. says, I have a ton of questions, and I get all the answers here. Yay, huge. I think I get it. I do great on the quiz, even better. I must really be getting the hang of it. Challenge number 2, this should be fun. Oh no, I get everything wrong. I can't hear the key of songs. I can't seem to hear chord changes, and when I do hear them, I can't figure out which one it is. Everyone is playing the super fun game, and I feel like I'm watching from the sidelines. I'd like to join in, but I just don't seem to be getting it. Totally bummed out, defeated. I'm convinced I will never get it. I'm standing still while everyone else is racing by. Wow, someone posts a super nice comment on my attempt? Well, there goes someone else. Gosh, that was nice. I still have long ways to go, but I guess it will be okay if I can't remember everything and make mistakes. Thanks, guys. So the reason I chose this comment was twofold. Number one, I just want to reiterate that we are all at different levels. And we're going to have, it's that classic learning curve. I remember distinctly in high school math, we were learning, was it geometry? I can't remember. Obviously, it wasn't. I wasn't paying too close attention. But I remember learning a concept, I think it was geometry, and getting it and feeling like this huge rush of accomplishment because I finally understood it. The teacher finally said it in a way that resonated with me, and I said, oh, I got it. Sweet. Moving on to the next chapter, I was like totally defeated because I was like, I just got this thing that I worked so hard on, and now I can't get the next thing. But the reason I bring this up is because it's going to take time. You're going to have that surge, that huge light bulb moment, and you're going to be like, holy cow, I finally got it. And then you're going to run into something else that might feel like you're in a foreign land, and you don't even, like, wait, is this still even Fretboard Wizard? And the reason I say that is because that's kind of the ebb and flow of this learning process. And that's ultimately, zooming way out, that's music in a nutshell. I mean, I still to this day, there was a song, Amanda F. posted this song. I discovered a really cool new artist, and it's giving me fits right now. I've tried a couple of cycles back through. I feel like I kind of get the gist of the song, but just when I feel like I get it, I play the chords that I come up with, and I'm like, I don't think I have it, so I have to revisit it. So it's again just like Leonard, it's ever evolving, and just because you had one huge light bulb moment doesn't mean the rest is gonna just lock into place immediately. It's definitely a process. So celebrate those light bulb moments, and when things get difficult, kind of take a step back and be like, okay, what do I know? That's why, in a lot of our lessons in Fretboard Wizard, I'll start off with what we know already, because that's our rock solid foundation. Like I did here in the review for Transposition, you start out with what you know. We have a major scale. We can construct the chord matrix. That chord matrix gives us the resulting tonalities for the scale degrees. That's our base point, and then we're building from there. So anytime things start to feel like you're getting dizzy or like it's overwhelmed, go back to what you know and then start building forward again. Because it's so easy to get lost in that sea of I don't know, and you're reaching for something to grab onto and there's nothing there. So go back to what you know for sure. So again, hang in there and have patience.
Hey, Tone.
Yes.
Real quick, what was the song that was giving you such fits?
I can't remember the name. Amanda F. posted it. It's a female artist.
Is it that Norwegian that we looked up?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has even Amanda messaged me. She said she's got this album that's kind of like I feel like it's a tribute to Joni Mitchell. I don't have all the details, but totally digging the song. Noah's heard it about 1,000 times.
In particular, like the 1 30-second loop,
Yeah. That was, I think that was either yesterday or the day before. I looked over at Noah and I said, I'm really sorry. Because I was playing this one particular section. I must have played it I played it quite a lot. And every time I'd be like, I think I got it. And I'd be like, nope, nope.
So if anybody wonders, you dig in. You get into those challenges and you go deep.
I do. Noah is. I don't know if he loves that or hates that, but either way, he's hearing the results of that. Are there any questions that are popping up so far?
Yes. We got one question. Of course, we have tons of small wins coming in. We'll get to those.
Yeah.
But the question from David was, why do we have to say minor when 2, 3, and 6 are always minor?
That's a fantastic question. And the reason you need to specify minor is because of those accidental chords. Remember when last lesson, lesson 2, we were talking about figuring out the chord changes by ear. And you say, okay, well, this is great. I've got my key of C, and I know that 1, 4, and 5 naturally occurring are major chords. 2, 3, and 6 naturally occurring are minor chords. But then I went ahead and threw that wrench in and I said, well, sometimes we bring in chords that are outside of the scale. One of those chords was the 2 major. So the reason it's important to specify major or minor is because there are, accidents can and will happen. Accidental chords, meaning we're bringing in chords from outside of the scale to add a certain emotion, a certain twinge of kind of an ear-catching vibe. So that being the case, it's always best to specify, especially with the 2, the 3, or the 6, whether it's major or minor. Now, if it's major, you don't have to say anything. If it's minor, you do have to put that little M next to it. That just keeps everything nice and tidy, especially if on the off chance that one of those accidental chords does make an appearance. If you just put 2, and it happens to be the 2 major instead of the 2 minor, it can certainly throw things. So that's one of the reasons, and I want to quickly and publicly apologize for those of you who spent time on the quiz and during the quiz realized you had to put the little m for the minor. I'm sorry, I didn't put that in the instructions, and I'm making notes on how to clarify those instructions. So thank you for your comments and suggestions on what would help at the beginning of the quiz rather than finding out in the middle of the quiz. Great question, Dave. That's an awesome question.
So Amanda jumped in and saved the day.
With the artist name?
Yes.
Oh, good.
It's Merritt Larson.
Merritt Larson.
If the T's pronounced, I don't know any Norwegian.
Oh, yeah.
And she said the song was the Stranger song.
It's such a good song.
Yeah, it's good.
Such a good song. So here, quickly, since we're live, the song's capoed on the first fret, but I'm not going to capo it for here. So it's in the key of C sharp, and here's what I think happens. Just because this song has been on my mind, it's this descending walk. It goes. I think it goes to D minor there. Maybe not. I can't remember. But that's that descending part I was talking about. That's what I was trying to explain in the in what I was writing, Amanda. So hopefully that clears it up. I don't know. I didn't revisit the song today, so it's not super fresh in my mind, but I do recall that part. And thank you for plopping the artist name in the comments. That was going to be one of those things that was going to eat me up. Any other questions that are popping up?
So if 2 is a major, do you just say 2?
Yeah. I mean, you can put a capital M next to it just to be doubly sure. In fact, that might not be a bad idea if it's from outside the key, if it's an accidental. I guess I don't use that whenever I'm charting out songs. But if you're giving it to somebody else, say, hey, here's a chart that I made for you, and it's a numerical chart, go ahead and put that numerical 2 with a capital M, just to make doubly sure. And oftentimes, they're actually written in Roman numerals. So in the case of a 2 minor, the naturally occurring minor chord, ignore this, it would look like that. It's just a Roman numeral 2. If it was a 2 major, it would be the capital Roman numeral 2. So that's another thing that you might run into. But yeah, I guess to make doubly sure, the capital M would totally be acceptable at that point.
Cool. All right. Got a couple more questions, but one came in that I think can be addressed. You should address this. If I'm reading this right, the handle was Ice Can Sing. I feel kind of dumb working on the quiz this week because I don't know how to play the sharp chords and B chords without really thinking about it, thus making it extremely difficult to finish or even start.
So I would say there's a couple different. I'll offer a couple different suggestions in this case. So being that everybody is in a different area in terms of approaching the quizzes and the lessons, if the sharp chords, the flat chords, kind of the odd chords that you don't normally see, basically anything but an open chord, I'll explain that in a second. If those are kind of giving you fits, you can just use single notes to try and suss out that chord progression. Yes, it won't give you the full major or the full minor, but at least it'll get you on the right track to say, okay, well, I'm hearing what seems to be a B flat note here. So it likely is a B flat chord. So you can approach it from that single note perspective, which will not require you knowing how to make the full chord. In fact, I'm going to get to one of the reasons transposition is so important here in a second, and this will help you out in a big way. But second, remember that, a quick little note on movable chords. Movable chords actually may allow you to play any chord that you want. And what I mean by that is movable chords or closed position chords mean all the strings are fretted. So let's say, okay, there's a B flat chord, and you think, I've never even seen a B flat chord. I don't know what I'm even dealing with here. But let's say you know a B chord. Okay, well, if you know this chord, this is a closed position chord, meaning all the notes are fretted and it's completely movable. Wherever we move it, we consult the root of the chord, and it will be that chord. So that's a B chord. B flat is a half step lower than B. So if we move this chord towards the headstock 1 fret, that's our B flat. And we, of course, would consult the root of that particular chord shape. And for the full explanation of roots and things like that, make sure to visit that Foundation 5, the caged system. And say, well, gosh, Tone, I didn't even know a B chord at that point. Okay, well, we can go to an F chord. My guitar's just a touch out of tune here. So if this is our F chord, we're consulting that low E string, 1st fret, that's our root. So if that's an F, F to G is a whole step, 2 frets, that's a G chord. G to A is a whole step, that is an A chord. A to B flat, that's just a half step away, so that's our B flat chord. So that's a way to use movable chords to your advantage there. Even if it's not necessarily a conveniently located chord, at least you can kind of double check your hunch. But again, if those chords aren't necessarily easily accessible to you, just focus on the single notes and see if you can follow the single notes. And in terms of listening, really target the bass in that regard, because the bass, more often than not, will reference the root of the chord that's happening. So hopefully that helps out, or at least gives you some options to keep going.
All right. Thank you, Tony.
You got
All
it?
right. Steven asks, when trying to figure out chord progressions, I often assume that each chord will be played for the same length of time. It's hard to spot when the quicker changes take place. Any advice?
Absolutely. Great question, because just because chords change or we have a chord chart doesn't necessarily mean that the chords are all occupying the same amount of time. So in this case, I would first and foremost try and target the bass, because again, the bass is going to reference the root of the chord that's happening. And even during those quick changes, more often than not, the bass only has time to reference the root. So really try and target the bass. And so one of the Fretboard Wizard members posted a really great comment saying, you know what? If you can tweak the EQ on your computer, it will do wonders. So essentially, if you want to target the bass, take everything from like 2K and above and just zero it out. And it's going to sound really weird, but it's going to focus all the audio spectrum on the lower end, so you'll be able to kind of pick up on the bass. So you can actually manipulate the EQ of your computer or stereo or what have you to kind of try and isolate what you're targeting in terms of what you're trying to listen to. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be if you have any access to any sort of slow downer. I mentioned a few in last live Q&A in lesson 2. There's the amazing slow downer, AnyTune, and also on YouTube, if you go to the settings gear in the lower right hand corner, you can actually adjust the speed of any video that you're watching. So in that case, with those quicker chord changes, it wouldn't hurt to slow down that song to 50% even, because you can start to then really hear those bass notes pop. Because oftentimes, I'll actually play a quick chord progression here. When the chord changes are quick, there's really only time to hit the bass note. So if I was doing a quick G to D chord change, what I'm listening for there is those bass notes jumping out. I'm going. Easier said than done, because if it's happening at full speed, things are going at a pretty good clip. But again, slow downers can help you, and then just trying to target, identify what strum pattern or what kind of strumming style the player is using, and then seeing what you can target that kind of red flags all those chord changes. And something like that, usually it's just that bass note or the root of the chord.
Cool, man.
Cool, man.
Yeah, that was it so far. Everybody,
Okay, cool.
I think everybody's tracking.
Good. Well, I have kind of one of the hidden benefits of transposition that I want to share with you guys today. And that is, actually references back to that question about, odd chords, tough keys, and things like that. Like, if you find something that's in the key of E flat, and you're thinking, oh, neat, I got to play something in E flat. How the heck am I going to do that? Well, if I play an E, that's an E natural, but an E flat is down a fret, and I can't make that unless I retune my entire guitar. So think, okay, E flat. Well, at least you can kind of figure out the numerical changes, right? So if it's E flat, say it goes 1, 4, 5. So it'd be E flat, A flat, B flat, back to the E flat. But not convenient. I mean, you can't. Let's say you wanted to play bluegrass in playing something in E flat, and you think, well, this doesn't really cater to any runs or anything that I know. Sounds odd. It's tough to play. It feels a little strange. It doesn't have that stylistic stamp that bluegrass is known for, or whatever style you're using. So you think, okay, well, it's 1, 4, 5. Can I move this to a key that's a little bit more accessible? Well, think, okay, well, yeah, C, 1, 4, 5. I've got, where did my diagram go? 1, 4, 5 in the key of C is, well, it's C, F, G, C, right? And you think to yourself, well, that's neat, but I want to play this in the key of E flat. Well, you can use your transposition skills in conjunction with a capo to access chord shapes that are more comfortable for you. In fact, my capo's here somewhere. Hopefully I don't fall out of the chair. So you think, okay, C is definitely not E flat, but it's close, right? C to D is a whole step. So if I move that C up 2 frets, that's a D. If I'm on a D and I want to get to E flat, that's only a half step, so that's 1 fret. Cool, so I can play C, F, and G here in this position, right? Oh. Not quite. Once you get to the desired key with your desired shape, make sure to put the capo in the appropriate position. Hence the importance of caged, right? If I wanted to play this as a true closed chord, it would look like this. That sounds a lot better. But I still can't play bluegrass or any of the stylistic things that I like with this shape because I have no free fingers. Everything's occupied and has a job, and quite frankly, I don't like this shape at all. But if I see my index finger, and I say, okay, well, if I put my capo there on the 3rd fret, I should have brought a different capo for this. I like the McKinney-Elliott capo, but sometimes if it's not already on the guitar, it's hard to put on. If I put my capo there, well, heck, now I can play an E flat using C shapes. And I can do little runs that I like. Right? So the true benefit of transposition, yeah, it's being able to move stuff to different keys and adapt. But when you throw a capo in the mix, you get an added bonus. But because you can take those complicated chord shapes, use a capo, transpose to shapes that you actually like and enjoy and find comfortable playing, and play a song in an odd key and feel like you're playing it in a comfortable key. So that's one of the hidden benefits of transposition. I use it a ton. I don't like playing in E flat, and I don't like playing in B flat. Sometimes I don't like playing in A. Sometimes I don't even like playing in E. Because of stylistically, I like the access to different notes that certain shapes offer. C, for example, G, for example, D, for example. I like those because as a solo player, I can access different notes and different runs and licks that I'm comfortable with. So oftentimes I'll transpose something to G, C, or D in conjunction with my capo to play in a difficult key.
Cool. So, if I say this right, hopefully,
Yeah.
Fatih is noticing the new ink you have on your hand over there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Which, of course, that started this deal. And Aaron says, I wonder how hard it would be just to get the whole chord matrix tattooed on my arm.
For all 12 keys? Depends on the font size you'd use. That's good. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to roll into something else, Tony, or you want some small wins?
I'd love to hear some small wins. I've got a couple more questions, but that was heavy. I want to let that sink in, and maybe people have questions on that. So let's do some small wins, and we'll roll back to that.
Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, man, I missed it. There we go. There we go.
All right. Thanks, Levi.
You're welcome, Noah.
Oh, man. Dang it.
All right. John Lucas, small win. I'm on vacation with my family and couldn't sleep. Turned on John Paul White to sleep. Still couldn't sleep because I was figuring out the key and chord transitions in my head. No sleep equals small win.
Nice. Good music selection and great application of the skills. That's awesome.
All right, Gina, small win. 4-day weekend coming up, kicked off by 2 live TAC events.
I mean,
We feel the same way.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Howard.
Which, by the way, side note, maybe this is for later, but the wine that Jeff got us, today is kind of our only time to really do the Thanksgiving wine drinking thing.
It's true.
So that might be how our day ends.
Yeah, quick shout out to Jeff, and thank you for bringing just a fine bottle of red wine for us.
That's
Yes.
our small win.
Yeah, that's our small win.
Howard, small win, was able to figure out the chords to a song that I have not been able to find the chords online.
Beautiful. That is fantastic. I love that.
That is so freeing.
It totally is. I totally agree.
How many times have I typed in ultimate guitar tabs .com?
Yeah.
You know?
I remember, it's funny because when I first started teaching in person, I had the things that I wanted to teach. Well, not everybody wants to learn, the stuff that I want to teach. So I had a kid come in and he was looking for, it was this real oddball song. And I said, oh, no problem. I'll just look up the tabs. And it was my first time. I panicked. I panicked. I was writing this stuff out, trying to figure it out by ear. Eventually did it, and then it was free. Freeing is the best word for it, because I was no longer am I snuffed by the tab site. I'm no longer at the mercy of it.
Which I have a little thought to that. I think somewhere there's either a computer who puts those chord sheets together, or it's a bunch of nerds or something who don't really play.
Yeah.
And because sometimes you're going through them and you're like, wait a minute, that's not right.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways,
totally.
I digress.
Conspiracy.
Yes,
Conspiracy.
I digress. Okay, Erin's small win, besides now she's going to get the chord matrix tattoo.
Okay.
Today I only had 4 minutes to myself to figure out the chords to a song I just wrote. Something really clicked this week because 4 minutes was all I needed. Way more efficient now.
Nice
Thanks.
work.
All right, and Mitchell small win. He said he learned how to post small wins from yours truly.
Nice, Noah.
that's
good job.
Noah.
Hey,
That's a
support.
small one for you too.
Support is my middle name. Just want to say
I thought
that.
it was Jacob.
That's true.
Actually, there's
Noah
always room
Jacob-
for one more name.
Noah Jacob Smallwin Heckman Jr. the first.
Ooh, I like that.
You forgot the sir.
Oh,
But that's,
see what happens? I put one in and the other one just falls off the edge.
okay. Howard was also able to post in live chat, so that's awesome too.
Awesome.
Victory Ice, small win. I just finished the first quiz this week, and it was quiz Q this week. Maybe was that? But he says it was correct. This is a big win actually because I've been super frustrated recently.
Awesome. I remember seeing your victory. I remember seeing your comment, Victory, and I wanted to say good for you for just jumping in where you're at and just going through the course. Like I said, comments, questions, and things like that, I'm still very active and will be very active in those lessons. So if anything ever strikes you as you don't understand or whatever, just please leave a comment. I'm happy to help out. And kudos for jumping in. That is a huge small win. Good job.
All right, and Pete, he completed big. Is it Sciota?
Well, it's either. There's a lot of different pronunciations. It's Sciota, Scioti. There's yeah. It depends on where you're from.
Well, Pete completed it from
Nice
the Song
job.
Vault a couple days ago.
Fantastic. It's one of my faves.
Joel, small win. You mentioned the major pentatonic scale this week. I've been trying to determine how to easily solo in a major key for a while now, and I don't know why I didn't make this connection before.
Awesome. I got a cool hidden little tip for that here.
Should I keep going, or do you want to throw that in now?
No, keep going.
You're gonna remember?
Yeah, I'm just I'm in a good mood. I'm usually in a good mood, but it's a different good mood today.
Yeah, well, especially Hangouts. We could come in just bummed, whatever, like Mr. Rainy Cloud.
Yeah.
And then Hangouts just bring out the sun and rainbows.
It's true. The Hangouts take Mr. Rainy Cloud and put him in a closet.
Except for that one time. Whoa, hold on. I'm hitting the wrong stuff. Sorry, guys. What did I just hit?
What does that mean?
I don't know. I just hit the wrong button. Things started going crazy.
Was I Mr. Rainy Cloud once?
No, I was, and then I made you guys because remember the one hangout where like nothing worked, and so like we couldn't have more. All the cameras broke and everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
There was a one time, but for the most part, it's amazing.
All right, Stephen Small win. Figured out how to find the major and minor chords for major scale with all barred shapes.
Ooh.
So now I can move them to any major scale.
Powerful stuff right there. That is absolutely enormous. You just unlocked a major. Yeah, that's huge. Oh.
Claudia's Small win. Second time through FretWiz. Figured out and can play, sorta, while my guitar gently weeps, fingerstyle. Would have been unthinkable before Fretboard Wizard.
Nice work. That's awesome. I mean, awesome for coming through a second time, and awesome for just digging deeper on the skills and applying to a very, I think, difficult song. Nice job.
Ed, Small win. Figuring out Neil Young's Long May You Run.
Nice.
Then puzzled how the B flat chord in the turnaround fits into a song in the key of D. Can you maybe comment on that?
Well, I'm going to say 2 words. It's Neil Young. For those of you who are posting Neil Young songs in the challenge, I want to thank you for it because, like I said, the rules that we're learning here, they're our anchor point. They're universal rules, but as you'll learn with music, as quick as a rule is made, in the next breath it's broken. And Neil Young happens to break all the rules. He's one of my favorite songwriters, one of my favorite singers, players. I mean, he embodies awesomeness. And has no regard for the rules, and that's totally okay. I mean, it's kind of we need the rules so that we have something to break, and Neil Young is a master at it. And he throws in these weird chords, and you're like, that can't work. No way is it that chord. And then you listen to it, and you're like, that totally works. He can do it. He has an uncanny ability to just break the rules and make it work.
He's cool. One of my favorite moments when he was on stage with Pearl Jam. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember
was that Farm Aid? You remember that? Remember that time?
Yeah, you remember that time?
No,
that was awesome.
I saw them at the Gorge. They co-headlined.
You saw them?
Oh, I totally did.
Nice.
I learn things about Levi all the time. He just throws in these random tidbits.
It was
like,
amazing.
oh, yeah, I saw them. I saw Nirvana live. And I was like, huh, neat. That's cool.
Yeah. Anyways.
My first concert was Dan Fogelberg with my dad. I wore a fanny pack, and I was in, I think, the 4th grade. It was neon green. You're welcome.
My first concert
Poplar Creek Music Center.
was Poison and Slaughter.
Ooh, I missed that. I saw it on the TV, but I didn't actually get to go to that one.
All right. Anyway, okay. Last small win for now. And Honey backs me up here. She says, my small win is what Noah just mentioned. When I look up chords and tabs to songs, I can now tell they don't know what they're doing.
It's true. I mean, Honey, you bring up a great point here because there's a wealth of information out there. And when I was first looking up tabs and things, I just took everything as that's the way it was. Of course, this is the way it was. Even if it sounded odd to me, I was like, nope, that must be right because it's on the internet. And everything on the internet is correct. Just kidding, of course. But the more you apply these skills that we're learning here, the more you're able to use any tab or chord sheet that you look up as a guide and say, okay, well, yeah, get the gist of it, but this chord, they're definitely missing something here. So it's a pretty powerful tool. And just because now you can learn things by ear doesn't mean you won't ever look up chord sheets again. I mean, I still do it all the time. It's totally okay. The information's there, but at least you can look at those with a critical eye instead of taking it as fact. Is that it?
Oh no, it's just awesome. Fatih, I don't think he corrected me or not on that, but anyway, his first concert was Lionel Richie in 1984.
Sweet.
That's outstanding.
Hello. I think I was in I was in the womb when my mom was at a Lionel Richie concert or something.
Explains a lot.
Does it?
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's good. That's a good first concert.
Oh man, dude, things are awesome. What do you got next?
I was going to make commentary on the pentatonic scales, both major and minor. And I don't know if I shared this with you all yet, but they're the same shape. No joke, they're literally the same shape. So we know about movable chords. We know we can move them and name them because they have a root. Well, movable scale patterns, closed position scale patterns, meaning every note is fretted, those also have a root, meaning we can move those as well. So let's take the A minor pentatonic scale. This is basically the key to all things rock. Starts on the 5th fret, low E string, moves to the 8th fret, low E string. On the A string, we'll go 5th and 7th, D string, 5th and 7th, G string, 5th and 7th, B string, 5th and 8th, and finish up on the 5th string, on the 5th fret on the high E string. So the full A minor pentatonic scale is 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5. And I included those tabs on lesson 1. You'll see those in the description below. There's a link for that. Now, you're thinking, okay, well, that's cool, but what about the A major pentatonic scale? Do I have to learn a new shape? No. All you have to do is if you're on a minor pentatonic scale, wherever your index finger is, move your hand so that your pinky is where your index finger was. So now my pinky is on that 5th fret of the low E string, still an A note, and now I'm going to actually do the same exact pattern. That's the A major pentatonic. Let me give you another way to think about it. The A minor pentatonic, 5th fret of the low E string, index finger. I'll go index, pinky, index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, index, pinky, index. To take that minor pentatonic scale and now play the major pentatonic scale in the same key, move your pinky to where your index finger was, 5th fret of the low E. Now it's still an A note, but we're going to play the major pentatonic scale. Pinky, index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, index, pinky, index, pinky. And if you're ever wondering if you're playing an A major pentatonic scale, just play the first 5 notes. And that's a pretty good indicator. It's the same exact shape, we're just starting on a different finger. But of course, we have to move that finger to whatever root for the key that we're playing in.
I've got sunshine. Okay.
Good, Noah. Really good.
Levi, you got anything?
I wasn't paying attention at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, you started a storm because
I did? Oh, first concerts?
Oh man,
It's
they
good,
were rolling in. It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We might have to have a first concert section.
Are there any highlights that any?
They're like all highlights.
Well, yeah. So
'Cause it's
I
that
think
weird
Kate
time-
Kate wins because her first concert was the Beatles.
Oh,
in LA.
that
so
is
she just
money.
takes the cake.
I don't know, man.
First concerts are amazing because you're at that point, or at least for me, I was like fringely into music, and I was just following what my parents did. So I showed up with my fanny pack at a Dan Fogelberg show. It was really cool. I remember it.
Dude, Darlene, her first was Styx and Queen in San Diego.
Oh my gosh.
What else we got here? Hold on. Mark H. saw Aerosmith play at his local ice rink.
Double win.
Right?
That hits Levi in
Right?
the heart right there.
Nine
for
Lives
lots of
tour,
reasons.
so it was pretty recent. Looks like.
Nice.
Howard's was Michael Jackson during the Thriller tour.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got these confused. Joel Scoggins first was the Aerosmith 9 Lives tour, and then Mark. That's clearly like way back in the day. If it was at an ice rink.
Yeah, if they were playing at a ice rink.
Do you know my dad's band opened up for Styx?
Really?
Yes.
That's
Leviathan, a monster of a rock band. That was my dad's band. They opened up at like a local thing when Styx was just getting going.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
I'm a
Tommy
little
Shaw,
bit off topic
Dennis
today.
DeYoung.
I'm sorry.
Bighorn here. David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust at Radio City Music Hall, 74.
Whoa.
Which, by the way, was Rush's first album, 1974. Just want to throw that out there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Real good.
Muddy
Yeah.
Waters for Guy Young in 1979.
What year?
1979 was when Guy Young saw Muddy Waters.
Please comment and let me know if Johnny Winter was on that with Muddy Waters, because that's like my dream concert scenario. I never got a chance to see Muddy Waters. I did see Johnny Winter when he was alive, but never the two of them. Man, that would be cool.
Howard throws in there. Special holiday edition of Fretboard Wizard Live Q&A will last 5 hours.
Yeah.
See, you get music geeks going, and it's black hole city, black hole sun.
We
city.
almost sometimes can't work together because
It's true. Like,
we have to separate ourselves.
yeah, when things need to get done, like people have to leave. Like Noah leaves if we have to and it's not. It's only because we just can't this is what we do. We
Yeah.
just can't stop. Like, yeah,
The focus is gone.
yeah.
The focus is completely gone. Let me. I want to circle back on one
Okay.
thing real quick.
Yes,
So
please.
I mentioned transposition for convenient chord shapes. So one of the things that I will encourage you all to do is, if you get the concept of transposition, say, okay, if something's in the key of E flat, I can transpose it to whatever key I want. I would encourage you to do that, but then use your capo to not only transpose it to those different chord shapes, but use your capo to not only use different chord shapes, but retain the same key. I'll say that one more time. So if you know how to transpose, find your key, let's say if it's an E flat, transpose it to a key that you like the shapes of, say it be a G, C, D, whatever the case may be, and then use your capo in conjunction with those new shapes to actually retain the same original key. It's a cool trick. It's really fun to use, especially if you don't like some of those bar chords or movable chords, or more importantly, if you're playing with another guitar player or a jam group and say, gosh, everybody's playing this song. It's in the key of A. They're using, the standard A, D, and E shapes. I'm going to go ahead and transpose this to the key of G, put my capo on the 2nd fret, play different shapes than everybody else, but still play in the same key, A. Which I think it's a fun little exercise and can really open up your understanding of the fretboard and really what's possible. That was my wrap-up comment. It's like a side challenge. It's like challenge 3.2, challenge 3B. It's an off-the-record challenge that I will encourage you to do.
Dig it.
3B, isn't that is that the Hammond? Is it a Hammond?
B3.
Oh, B3.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But you're on the right track. Well, I mean, as you can see, we could probably do this for the next 5 hours, as was mentioned in the comments. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say a big thank you for joining us today on the Fretboard Wizard Lesson 3 live Q&A. Hopefully it was enlightening for you, and hopefully your questions were cleared up. And of course, if you do have questions, leave them on the lesson page. I'm going through those comments and addressing as many questions as I possibly can. Don't forget Challenge 3. I just posted it today. Go on over to the Fretboard Wizard community, located in the course materials. Just click that link. It'll take you right over there and dive into the Challenge 3, the Lesson 3 challenge. You'll see that on the tab above. And gosh, I just want to wish everybody just a super happy Thanksgiving, safe travels, happy family time, and happy guitar time. If those two mesh, even better. And I'll see you guys in the next Q&A. On behalf of all of us here, Music Geeks
See you guys.
around, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the lessons. Cheers.